Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to answer some of your questions.
Jimmy ya upendo, roho safi sawa na maneno, kukuwacha nitaanzaje? Msumari piga nyundo, yetu zame mpaka kwenye ufumo, kwetu Mola yendo mpaje. When I fall baby you take me, when I go lonely you save me, kwangu naniweka mawazo na kuweka kwa moyo. When I look at you, you look at me, my eyes on you, you make me feel, you make me fall in love. Fall in love. When I look at you, you look at me, my eyes on you, you make me feel, you make me fall in love. Fall in love, falling for you. Mwedoe, mwedoa, mwedoa, mwedoe, mwedoa. Mwedoa, mwedoe, mwedoa, mwedoa, mwedoe, mwedoa, mwedoa. Nafsi yangu baby nishakupatia, usiondoke lady, tutapalilia nono kinivuta kwa macho, najihisi kipopo. You are sweeter than honey, better than sorry. Oh my baby boo, welcome darling. I wanna touch you and I touch you na maybe tu ninakamilika. When I look at you, you look at me, my eyes on you,
So the first question is, what's your opinion on Gengeton impact on Kenyan music industry? I think Gengeton has made it more impactful. It has been very impactful on Kenyan industry, especially on the upcoming artists. However, the Gengeton artist can do better. Yeah, that's my opinion. Which Kenyan artist would you love to work with? I think the artist who I would like to work with is who? Maybe Nikita Kerry. Yeah. So Nikita Kering is one of my favorite artists. I would like to work with her. So the next question is, so remember this, all of these questions I gathered them from my channels, from TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. What software and plugins do most Kenyan producers use? I think the most common one is FL Studio for young upcoming producers, and Cubase for those people who work in the church, who work on gospel music. So yeah, how does AI impact music production globally? I think the AI is changing the music production, the way it is being produced. Especially you can produce a full song using AI. For example, Suno is one of them. I use it to get some ideas out of my mind. Yes, get different ideas. Yeah. Yeah, so AI can be used very in a very good way, especially in production of videos. If you don't know how to make videos for your music, also you can use the AI to bring out a different version of a song. For example, the song you are listening right now to, let me add something. For this song, for this song, if you can hear the fruit, I used AI to produce that fruit, and the song is so good. So it gave me that idea of producing, of adding a fruit in that song. What do you use and why? Okay, I used to DAWs, FL Studio, and Reaper. FL Studio for beat making and recording, Yeah, because I find FL Studio much more easier to use in production of beats. I use Reaper in mixing because it does not overload my CPU. So my CPU is very cheap. So what's your go-to VST plugin for melodies? Okay, for melodies I used to maybe 3 to 4. So number 1 is Zenology, yes. Then Purity, maybe Nexus, Omnisphere, yeah. That VST is strong. Then maybe Contact sometimes, and Piano Tech, yeah. Piano Tech is one of my favorite to start with. Every time I open if I want to make a beat, I start with Piano. So the next question is, what's the best way to mix vocals? I think there's no good way. As long as the vocals are sounding good, that's it. Maybe I share you my mixing track. So the first thing is I do is I voice gate my vocals using LS1. Then I add maybe an EQ. After adding an EQ, then I add after an EQ I add a compressor, that is CLA 76. Then I add fresh air, then IDS, maybe another EQ. Then the last one is V compressor. That is my mixing track, how it is. Then I create an aux and aux outputs. Yeah, so yeah, basically that is my mixing chain. The aux output, I add reverb. Then I add delays. Those are for effects. Then there is saturation after on the main vocals. How do you make sure your beats don't all sound the same? Okay, before I make beats, most of the time I listen to songs before I make a beat. Then from all the songs that I have listened to, then I come with an inspiration from 2 or 3 or 4 songs that I have listened to. How do you deal with beat block? So beat block, I deal it by maybe using samples. Yeah. Then trying not to start each beat as usual. Maybe if I usually mostly I start with melodies. So if that day I'm facing beat block, I start with drums, and that's how I beat the beat block. What's the best way to improve as a producer? The best way to improve as a producer is to constantly learn. Always learn from anyone, maybe from your colleagues, from YouTube. Take a course. Yeah, that's all. Then how important is TikTok for producers? So most the TikTok is good for producers because they can put their beat or their work there. So TikTok is good for marketing. But I think because of oversaturation of the content, I think people don't pay that much attention to your content if you're not unique. How do you negotiate beat prices with artists? So for beat making, usually the pricing is different for different clients. It depends on the client, what he wants. So if the client wants to ask more,